There are countless real crime stories out there, so for one to stand out from the crowd, it requires a truly disturbing instance. There are a few notorious real crime cases that are still spoken about years, if not decades, after they happened. Watch some of the most memorable and shocking true crime stories from each decade in this video. Then share your thoughts about them in the comments. A newborn baby successfully managed to survive for days on its own after its mother was discovered dead on Wednesday, August 18th, from what appeared to be an overdose. On August 18th, the Louisville Metro Police Department discovered the body of 29-year-old Danielle Wade on the floor of her residence in Louisville, Kentucky. According to WDAM-7, first responders discovered Rayshawn, her 2-month-old baby, resting on top of her mother's decomposing body. He had presumably survived alone for at least 2 days. Police contacted Danielle Wade's mother, Adrienne Wade, to help identify her daughter's body and maybe seize custody of her grandson, Rayshawn. The matriarch was completely taken aback by the unfortunate turn of events, and she has continued to hold onto a photo of her daughter as she muses over how abruptly the incident occurred. Her mother exclaimed, "I can't believe this is how her week ended. I find it hard to believe that happened so quickly. Life is so brief, and it just happened that way." According to NBC station Wave 3 News, although she sobbed over Danielle's passing, she also expressed her happiness for her grandson's survival, despite the horrifying experience he underwent. She had been decomposing for days with her little baby, her little newborn, laying on top of her, Wade remarked. The infant, who was in the flat when she was disintegrating, had raw skin on his fingers from trying to eat in order to survive. The youngster is anticipated to fully recover and may not sustain any long-term effects from his experiences. According to KSLA, Adrienne Wade has persisted in expressing her astonishment at how Rayshawn was able to escape the incident alive. Wade remarked that it was miraculous since God was involved. God is concerned. It really is miraculous. He consumed his raw hand. According to the authorities, Danielle apparently overdosed to death. Danielle Wade's drug use history and whether she ever overdosed on prescription medications are unknown. American Catherine Beers, born December 30th, 1982, was abducted in Bayshore, New York when she was 9 years old by John Esposito, a family acquaintance, and was held captive there from December 28th, 1992 until January 13th, 1993. In Long Island, New York, Katie Beers shared a home with her mother, Marilyn Beers, an older half-brother, John Beers. Her one-night stand conception meant that her biological father was never known. Katie also shared a home with her godmother, Linda Ingelleray, and her husband, Salvatore, from an early age. Katie and John experienced maltreatment by the Ingellerays, including repeated sexual attacks by Sal, as a result of Marilyn's frequent neglect of them. John Esposito was a friend of the Beers family who repeatedly courted Katie and John Beers and gave them presents while also abusing John sexually. Esposito had previously been taken into custody in 1977 for attempting to kidnap a 12-year-old boy. On December 28, 1992, 2 days before her 10th birthday, Beers was persuaded to enter Esposito's home in Bayshore, New York by the promise of a birthday gift. Beers forced Esposito into a concrete bunker underground after she played a computer game in her bedroom. The 6-foot-long tunnel led under Esposito's garden to a 6-by-7-foot bunker mound. In Esposito's office, the entrance tunnel was masked by a movable bookcase and a 200-pound concrete trapdoor. A commode toilet and closed-circuit television system were included in the bunker. Beers was restrained in the soundproof chamber with a bed and a television that was the size of a coffin within the bunker. Esposito would eventually admit to the police that Beers was the reason he built the bunker. Later, Beers recalled that Esposito had built the bunker a few years before the kidnapping while she was playing in the soil it had displaced. Esposito made Beers record a message after dragging her into the bunker, in which she claimed to have been abducted by a man brandishing a knife. At a payphone outside the Spaceplex Amusement Arcade in Nescaset, New York, Esposito read the message and informed the personnel that he had lost Beers inside the complex. When she was unable to be found, police were summoned. Esposito visited Beers frequently while she was being held captive, feeding her, giving her blankets and toys, and abusing her sexually. Beers was able to free herself from her chains and escape to the larger room in Esposito's absence after concealing a key under a pillow. but she was unable to escape the bunker itself because he would only let her into the larger part of the bunker when he visited her. Esposito informed Beers that he meant to keep her in the bunker for the rest of her life, and that he intended to give the police a photo of her dozing off so that they would think she was dead. However, the photo was never taken as planned. Esposito was a suspect from the beginning of the police inquiry because of the claims that he had sexually assaulted John Beers in the past, and because Spaceplex witnesses claimed that he entered the arcade by himself on the day that Beers vanished. Due to the absence of background noise, police also concluded that Beers' phone message regarding a man brandishing a knife came from a previously made recording. 17 days after the kidnapping, on January 13, 1993, Esposito admitted to taking Beers hostage and led law enforcement to the bunker, where they were able to set her free. On June 16, 1994, Esposito entered a guilty plea to kidnapping. On July 27, 1994, he was given a sentence of 15 years to life in prison, which he completed at Sing Sing Prison in Westchester County, New York. Beers testified at Esposito's trial that he had raped her while she was being held captive. Despite not having been charged with it, the judge who passed judgment on him agreed with her. The day after his fourth parole hearing in 20 years, on September 4, 2013, Esposito was discovered dead in his cell from what appeared to be natural causes. Sal Ingaleri was sentenced to 12 years in prison after being found guilty of 2 charges of sexual assault against Beers. Authorities learned that Ingaleri had sexually assaulted the girl before the kidnapping during the course of their inquiry. He also faced charges for those offenses. 2009 saw his death in custody. Due to the mistreatment and abuse the 2 kids had endured prior to the kidnapping, Beers York was quickly placed into foster care in East Hampton, New York. Beers was reared by her foster parents until she reached maturity and was given anonymity. Beers made her first public remarks regarding her experience in January 2013 and disclosed that she was now married, had 2 children, and worked in insurance. She released a memoir about her ordeal in the same month. A Reno couple has admitted to killing the man's 5-year-old daughter, whom authorities claim was malnourished and tied in an animal cage before she passed away. Her emaciated body was hidden in a duffel bag that was discovered in a California storage facility. In Washoe County District Court on Thursday, Rayshawn Enoch admitted to first-degree murder and Tyler Anderson to second-degree murder. The 2 25-year-olds also admitted to destroying evidence, and their sentencing is scheduled for April 21st. They are to get life sentences with the chance of parole. Before the couple's divorce in August, Enoch, who wasn't the girl's actual mother but went by the name Anderson, willfully and unlawfully killed Cali Anderson by means of torture, according to court filings. According to documents filed on Thursday, Enoch purposefully withheld the girl's food and water for the specific purpose of inflicting pain by way of starvation, for retaliation, or because Anderson was not CA's biological child. She harbored a cruel loathing toward her. According to court records, Enoch was the biological mother of 2 other children conceived by Anderson, who were residing with the couple in Reno at the time. As part of the plea deal, Enoch and Anderson recanted earlier not guilty pleas and agreed to serve 1 year in prison for evidence destruction before starting their life terms for murder. According to the plea agreement, the prosecution agreed to suggest that Anderson be available for parole on the murder counts after 10 years and Enoch after 20 years. They were first accused of murder after being apprehended in May 2018. The girl's body was discovered at a Sacramento, California storage facility a few days later. Initially, they were also charged with child abuse, resulting in great bodily damage, but that accusation was later dismissed. Before they put the kid in the bag inside the plastic drum, investigators think she lay dead for a week in the couple's messy Reno flat. They hired a truck and put the body in a French storage facility, where it was discovered and reported to police, according to authorities. According to the authorities, when detectives investigated the couple's apartment, they discovered a handcuffed wire cage for animals, as well as a backpack next to the cage that included a cap with the girl's name on it. Enoch informed the authorities that the girl had health issues. She claimed that the girl was unresponsive, motionless, and her breathing was shallow around May 4, 2018, and that her pulse seemed to be faint. According to an affidavit, Enoch claimed that the pair alternated performing CPR and later tried to wake Cali up by submerging her in cold water in the shower. Enoch calculated that they spent roughly 3 hours trying to save their lives, but they never called for help. When they realized she was dead, she claimed they dressed her in fresh clothes and placed her in a duffel bag. It remained there for about a week until Tyler Anderson drove the U-Haul to Sacramento while she followed in their automobile. According to the plea memorandum submitted on Thursday, Anderson endangered his daughter and caused her to suffer unjustified pain or mental suffering as a result of neglect and endangerment. It stated that Enoch and Anderson shared responsibility for her care as well as accountability for her abuse. This neglect and endangerment was inherently dangerous because death to the child was a foreseeable consequence and did in fact cause the victim's death due to complications from undernourishment or malnourishment, according to the plea agreement. Indeed, no matter what ordeal life shoves your way, there's always a way out, and these stories are a perfect example. Stay safe and keep watching.